My girlfriend said, "My friends are moving in, rent-free. You can sleep on the couch." I said, "Okay." Then I changed the locks and packed her things while she was at brunch. 24 hours later, she and her friends were blowing up my phone. I, 28 male, think I might have just detonated my 2-year relationship with a single word, and a locksmith. The house is mine. That's the first thing you need to know. I inherited it from my grandparents a few years back. It's not a mansion, but it's a solid 3-bedroom place, and the mortgage is paid off. I paid the property taxes, the utilities, the insurance, all of it. My girlfriend Hannah, 26, moved in about a year ago. There was no formal agreement. I loved her, so I didn't think we needed one. She pays for her car, her phone, and splits groceries with me. That's it. No rent, no utilities. I was happy to provide a stable, comfortable home for us. I thought we were building a future. Yesterday morning, she dropped the bomb. I was making coffee and she came into the kitchen, scrolling on her phone. She didn't even look up. "Hey, so, good news. Olivia and Marie are moving in." I stopped pouring. Olivia and Marie are her 2 best friends. They're a lot. They currently share a cramped, overpriced apartment and are constantly complaining about their landlord. Moving in? What do you mean moving in? Like, with their stuff. Moving in. Their lease is up at the end of the month, so it's perfect timing. I just stared at her. She finally looked up, a little annoyed, like I was being slow. Me? "Where are they going to stay? We don't have a spare room furnished." Hannah: "Well, obviously they'll take the 2 spare rooms. We'll just need to get some beds. They don't have much money right now, so they'll be moving in rent-free for a while, just until they get back on their feet." The silence in the kitchen was heavy. The only sound was the coffee maker gurgling its last few drops. Rent-free. For a while. I could already see how this movie was going to end. Me: "Hannah, you can't just decide your friends are moving into my house without even talking to me." This is where it went off the rails. She sighed, a deep, theatrical sound, and finally put her phone down. Hannah: "Babe, don't be like that. It's a big house. We have the space. They're my best friends. They're practically family. You wouldn't kick out family, would you?" "They're not my family." "And where are we supposed to sleep?" "We use the master bedroom." She gave me a bright, dismissive smile. The kind that says, "I've already thought of this, and you're going to hate it, but I'm going to say it anyway." Well, Olivia and Marie can take the master bedroom, since there are 2 of them, and it has the big bathroom. You can have one of the smaller rooms, and I'll take the other. Then she paused, looking me up and down. "Actually, you know what? You're barely ever in your room anyway. You can just sleep on the couch for a bit. It's comfy." "You can sleep on the couch. In my own house. The house my grandparents left me. The house I pay for and maintain. I was being demoted to a guest in my own home." Something inside me just snapped. Not in an angry, yelling way. It was quiet. Cold. It was the sound of a door slamming shut in my head. All the little compromises, the times I'd let her entitlement slide, all of it coalesced into a single moment of absolute clarity. I looked at her, at this woman I thought I loved, who was so casually discarding me for her friend's convenience, and I smiled. A calm, genuine smile. "Me okay?" Her whole demeanor changed. She broke into a relieved grin. "Oh my God, babe, really? I knew you'd understand. This is going to be so much fun. It'll be like a permanent slumber party." She grabbed her purse. "I'm going to brunch with the girls to tell them the good news. We'll start packing their stuff this afternoon. Love you." She kissed my cheek and walked out the door. I stood there for a minute, coffee forgotten. Then I walked over to the window and watched her car pull away. The moment it was out of sight, I picked up my phone. First call, a 24-hour locksmith. "Yes, I'd like to schedule an emergency rekeying for my entire house. How soon can you get here?" Second call, a moving and packing service. I explained that I needed a tenant's belongings packed up professionally and put into a storage unit. I paid for 3 months up front. The locksmith arrived in 30 minutes. While he worked, I started gathering Hannah's things. I was methodical. Her clothes, her makeup from the bathroom, her laptop, her ridiculous collection of scented candles. Every single thing that wasn't mine. The packers arrived an hour later. They were fast and efficient. They boxed up everything. The clothes, the furniture she'd brought, the photos of us. By 2 p.m., Every trace of Hannah was gone from my house. I took the storage unit key and the folded-up receipt, placed them in a clear plastic baggie, and taped it securely to the outside of the front door, right over the handle where no one could miss it. I spent the rest of the afternoon deep cleaning the house. It felt lighter, quieter. I knew the storm was coming. I was just surprised it took this long. Update 1. The first text came in around 4 p.m. yesterday, right after her celebratory brunch must have ended. Hannah, hey, the key isn't working. Did you lock the deadbolt from the inside? I didn't answer. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. Hannah, I let it go to voicemail. Her voicemail was laced with irritation. Jesse, I'm outside with Olivia and Marie. We've got a car full of stuff. What's wrong with the door? Call me back. The text started escalating. Hannah, Jesse, this isn't funny. Open the door. My phone is about to die. Are you home? Where are you? The girls are getting pissed. We're supposed to be moving in today. Then the phone calls started coming from different numbers. First Olivia, then Marie. I ignored them all. Around 6 p.m. the tone shifted from annoyance to panic and rage. What did you do? There's a U-Haul receipt taped to the door. A storage unit? Are you fucking kidding me? That's when my phone really started to blow up. A barrage of calls, voicemails. I put my phone on silent and sat on my couch in my quiet house and read a book. It was bliss. The real fireworks started this morning. I woke up to over 50 missed calls and a wall of text messages that painted a very clear picture. Apparently, after realizing they weren't getting in, they had to drive the U-Haul truck full of their junk back to their old apartment, which they'd already officially vacated. They spent the night sleeping in the truck because they had nowhere else to go. I finally decided to answer one of Hannah's calls this afternoon. I wanted to hear it. Me? Hello? Screaming, practically incoherent. Jesse, you psychopath. You threw me out. You threw out all my things. I didn't throw anything out, Hannah. Your belongings are safe in a climate-controlled storage unit. I paid for 3 months. The key and address were taped to the front door. Hannah, you can't just kick me out. We live together. You know, I live here. You were a guest who tried to move 2 other people in and relegate the owner of the house to the couch. I just declined your new terms of occupancy. There was a muffled sound, and then a new voice was on the phone. Olivia. Olivia, listen to me, you little prick. You can't do this to her. We have rights. Me. What rights are those exactly? The right to live in my house for free? I don't think that's a thing. Olivia. We're gonna sue you for illegal eviction. Great. Tell your lawyer that your friend who paid no rent and whose name is on 0 legal documents related to this property was asked to leave after she tried to unilaterally move you in. Let me know how that goes. I could hear Marie yelling in the background, something about me being a toxic monster. Hannah, back on the phone crying now. I can't believe you did this to me. I have nowhere to go. My friends have nowhere to go. You're making us homeless. That sounds like a problem for the 3 of you to solve together. You seemed pretty confident in your collective decision-making yesterday morning. I'm sure you'll figure it out. But I love you. No, you don't. You love what I provide. There's a difference. You were so convinced of your plan that you didn't even consider my feelings. You just assumed I'd roll over. You miscalculated. I hung up. They've been trying to rally support. A few of our mutual friends have texted me, asking for my side of the story. I sent them a single screenshot of Hannah's text where she told me her friends were moving in and I could sleep on the couch. Most of them have gone silent. I feel a strange mix of numb and resolved. It hurts that 2 years of my life ended like this, but the sheer, unadulterated entitlement in their voices. It confirms I did the right thing. This wasn't a partnership. It was a resource to be exploited. The quiet in my house feels like peace. Update 2. It's been an eventful week. The entitlement didn't just knock on the door. It tried to kick it down, both literally and figuratively. 3 days ago, I was working from home when my doorbell rang. I checked the camera. It was Hannah, Olivia, and Marie. Hannah was teary-eyed and looked like she'd been coached. Olivia and Marie stood behind her like stone-faced bodyguards. I answered through the intercom. Can I help you? Jesse, please. Can we just talk? Face to face? I just want to get my things. Your things are in storage, Hannah. I gave you the key. Some things are missing. My grandmother's locket. You probably stole it. A classic move. Accuse me of theft. I calmly replied that I didn't touch her jewelry. I'd instructed the packers to be especially careful with the contents of her vanity, where she kept her jewelry box. I was confident it was safely packed away and inventoried, and I told her as much. The packers are professionals who inventory everything. I'm certain it's all there. Just open the door and let her look, you coward. I'm not opening the door. This is my property, and you are no longer welcome here. This is when Marie decided to try the handle, rattling it violently. Open the damn door, Jesse, or we'll call the cops and tell them you're holding her stuff hostage. I just sighed. Go ahead. I'd love to explain the situation to them. They must have realized it was a losing hand because they eventually left, but not before Marie kicked my front door, leaving a scuff mark. Small, petty, and perfectly in character. The welfare check and the smear campaign. The next day, 2 police officers showed up at my house. My heart hammered for a second, but I kept my cool. They said they'd received a call from a concerned friend who claimed I was unstable and potentially a danger to myself after a bad breakup. I invited them in. I calmly explained the situation, showed them the text messages from Hannah, including the one about me sleeping on the couch. I showed them the scuff mark on the door from her friend. I even had the footage from my doorbell camera of them screaming at me. The officers were professional, but clearly unimpressed with Hannah's antics. One of them actually sighed and said, "So she tried to move her friends in without your permission, and you changed the locks, and now she's claiming you're unstable. Got it." They apologized for taking my time and left. The attempt to use the authorities to harass me had failed spectacularly. But they weren't done. The real nastiness had moved online. Olivia and Marie, being the social media gurus they imagined themselves to be, started a full-blown smear campaign. It was a masterclass in vague booking and passive-aggressive poison. Posts on Instagram and Facebook started appearing. So disgusting when a man you thought was good shows his true colors. A true wolf in sheep's clothing, kicking a woman out on the street for no reason. Toxic masculinity abuse is not okay. Posted by Olivia with a sad-looking selfie of her and Hannah. Watching my best friend's heart get shattered by a manipulative narcissist. He has her trapped. He won't even let her get her sentimental belongings. Pray for my girl. Posted by Marie, with a photo of a single tear rolling down Hannah's cheek. They were careful not to use my name, but our circle of friends is small. People knew who they were talking about. Hannah, of course, played the part of the tragic victim in the comments, replying with things like, "I just don't understand what I did to deserve this. He was my everything." This is what got to me. Not the yelling, not the police, the calculated public manipulation, the lies. They were trying to ruin my reputation. And that's when my sadness finally burned away completely, replaced by something cold and hard. I was done being defensive. They wanted to play dirty? Fine. But I wasn't going to roll around in the mud with them. I was going to use the machine they had built to dismantle them. I spent an evening doing some research. Hannah works in marketing for a mid-sized, very woke tech company that prides itself on its corporate ethics and community image. Her LinkedIn profile is full of buzzwords about integrity, authenticity, and building trust. Olivia is a freelance graphic designer, always posting about her brand. Marie is an aspiring influencer who tags every brand under the sun in her posts, desperately trying to get a sponsorship. They think the internet is their weapon. They've forgotten that everything they post is permanent, and everything they've sent me is evidence. My revenge isn't going to be loud or angry. It's going to be quiet, professional, and devastating. It's going to be a consequence, served cold. I've started drafting an email. Final update. The dust has settled. The silence in my house is no longer just peaceful. It's victorious. It didn't happen overnight, but the dominoes I set up fell exactly as planned. Here's how it all went down. After a week of their relentless social media crusade, I finalized my plan. It wasn't about yelling or fighting. It was about presenting undeniable facts to people who had a vested interest in seeing them. It was a 3-pronged attack. Prong 1, Hannah. I compiled a digital folder. It contained screenshots of Hannah's original texts, outlining her plan to move her friends in and banish me to the couch. high-resolution screenshots of every single defamatory post and comment from Hannah, Olivia, and Marie. I made sure to capture the likes and comments from others to show their reach. A copy of the police report from the fraudulent welfare check, which officially listed the call as unfounded. The saved video file from my doorbell camera showing them harassing me with Marie kicking my door. I drafted a very polite, very professional email. It was addressed to the head of human resources at Hannah's company, whose name I found easily on LinkedIn. Subject: a matter of professional integrity concerning your employee. Hannah, dear sir. My name is Jesse. I am writing to you today with a heavy heart regarding a situation involving one of your marketing employees, Hannah. I was her long-term partner until recently. I understand that personal matters are typically separate from professional ones. However, Miss Last Name and her associates have recently engaged in a coordinated online campaign to publicly defame me, and I believe her actions demonstrate a profound lack of judgment and integrity that is fundamentally at odds with the values your company publicly espouses. To be clear, our relationship ended after Miss Hannah informed me of her unilateral decision to move 2 of her friends into my solely owned property, rent-free, while demoting me to sleeping on the couch. When I calmly refused these terms by changing the locks and placing her belongings in a paid storage unit, she and her friends began a campaign of harassment. Attached, you will find a documented timeline of this behavior, including the initial messages, the subsequent public accusations of abuse and theft, and evidence of a fraudulent police report filed against me. This online campaign, which you can see is public, directly contradicts the image of trust and authenticity that Miss Hannah, as a marketer, is paid to represent for your brand. I am not seeking any action on your part, but I felt ethically obligated to make you aware of the character of an individual representing your company in the public sphere. Sincerely, Jesse. I attached the folder as a zip file and hit send. Prom 2 and 3. Olivia and Marie. This required a bit more digging. I found the property management company for their old apartment building through some public records searches. Olivia had also foolishly tagged the building in some of her old Instagram posts. I sent a similar, slightly altered email to the management company, complete with the video of Marie kicking my door and screenshots of them bragging about their planned and failed squatting attempt. I framed it as a warning about former tenants you may consider renting to again. For Marie, the aspiring influencer, it was even simpler. She had tagged dozens of small businesses and brands in her smear campaign posts. I went through and contacted 5 of the most prominent ones: a local boutique, a coffee company, a skincare brand. I sent them the same folder of evidence with a simple note: FYI, this is the kind of individual who is using your brand's name in her posts. The consequences weren't immediate. It was a slow burn. About 3 weeks after I sent the email, I heard through a mutual friend that Hannah had been put on administrative leave from her job. The company had launched an internal investigation. Another month went by, and then the news came: she was officially let go. The reason cited was a violation of the company's social media policy and code of conduct. Her public, documented lies were a liability they wouldn't tolerate in a marketing role. The fallout for Olivia and Marie was harder to track, but I pieced it together from social media. About a month ago, Olivia posted a long rant about how impossible it is to find an apartment and how unfair landlords are. Turns out, the management company of their old place had shared my information with a network of other local property managers. They had effectively been blacklisted from most reputable apartment buildings in the area. Marie's influencer dreams imploded. The brands I contacted not only blocked her, but one of them, the boutique, put up a public post about partnering with creators who embody positivity and honesty, which was a clear subtweet at her. She went private on all her accounts after that. Hannah tried to reach out one last time, a long, rambling email from a new address. It was a mix of blaming me, "You ruined my life," begging, "I have nothing left, please can't we just talk," and a pathetic attempt at apology. "I know I messed up, but I didn't deserve this." I didn't reply. I just forwarded it to the folder I've now labeled The Hannah Chronicles, and then archived it. It's been a few months now. I sold the couch. I bought a new, nicer one, I redecorated the 2 spare rooms. One is a home gym now, the other is a proper guest room for people I actually want in my house. My life is my own again. I don't feel happy, not in a giddy way. I feel settled. I feel a deep, unshakable sense of rightness. They made their choices, they broadcast their intentions, they built their own gallows online, post by post. All I did was hold up a mirror. They faced the natural consequences of their own entitlement. And me? I have my quiet house back, and that's a justice I can live with.